Welcome to a new episode of the Path to Inspiration. I'm Sebastian, and today I want to talk about fear. More specifically, fear when it comes to the law of attraction and all this stuff. All that good stuff. So let's get into it. How to deal with fear when it comes to manifesting, whatever. Allowing our ideal self to come forth, our higher self to take over and overcome the smaller self. Fear will play a key role in our lives, as Jim Carrey would say, but we get to choose if we choose fear or we choose love. That's a direct quote from a speech by Jim Carrey, right? And then for those of you who haven't listened to this speech by Jim Carrey, it's the speech at the Maharishi University, the graduation speech. It's an amazing speech. It's one of my favorite speeches of all time. Go listen to it. It's really amazing. It will change your life. I mean, maybe not literally, but it will inspire you. Anyway, I digress, but it's a good speech. Anyway, so when it comes to fear, how to deal with it, there's many ways of dealing with fears, right? Because some fears are smaller than others, right? And I read not such a long time ago that 98% of our fears are unjustified, which means we fabricated them. We manufactured them in our minds. And obviously, the first thing when it comes to fear is what are you consuming? By consuming, what media are you consuming? What are you reading about? What are you talking about? Who are you hanging out with? What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of books are you reading? And that's very important because that can bring a lot of fear without you even knowing it. I'm not even joking. I used to spend my time 5-10 years ago reading about conspiracy theory, this and that, the Kabbalah, blah, blah, blah. All this negative stuff. And don't get me wrong, a lot of those things, those theories are based on a certain foundation of truth. But then again, as I said in previous videos, we all decide where we put our focus on. If we want to focus on the negative, oh my God, the negative is available. It's amazing. It's all there. But if we want to focus on the good, it's equally and probably even more available. But we need to spend more time on the good, and it takes more effort to spend more time dwelling on what is good, what is wholesome. Because let's be honest, negativity is prevalent. It's everywhere. Because negativity sells more than positivity. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I think that positivity will be able to be cooler in the future, but that's my belief system, right? But anyway, that's how I function. But I digress once again, and I'm sorry. But what was I saying? So yeah, when it comes to what you consume, you have to understand that a lot of what you consume, the news is a great example. I don't watch the news at all. Like when I say at all, like at all. Why? Because like I don't want to go in the nitty-gritty details of media, but media is a business like anything else. And when it bleeds, it sells. So I mean, like what good does it do for a profitable company that needs views to focus on positive stuff when the audience will decrease? So obviously when you focus on the negativity, and negativity goes viral, because for those of you who have read books like Viral by this college professor, I forgot, and he said that negativity is anger, negativity, fear, and all this kind of stuff are the things that go the most viral. So you understand what I'm talking about? I mean, and I really don't want to get into subject. What are we living now in this pandemic? There's a lot of things we could talk about, and a lot of fears that are probably unjustified. I mean, they are unjustified if you really think about it. But I don't want to talk about this subject because it's neither here nor there in this video. What I want to talk is how to deal with fears. And the first thing you should do is stop consuming things that will make you fearful. Whatever it is in your life. I know what it was in my life, but I don't know what it is in your life. You have to gauge your life and gauge what you're spending your time and where you're spending your focus on, and get rid of those things that make you fearful. Now, that's the more macro level kind of fear, because you fear maybe the world, you fear what is going to happen, the economy, etc. This is easy once you stop consuming the wrong things and once you start consuming the right things. Then there are fears that are more personal, more individual, more on your level, on the micro level. And as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do the thing you fear and fear will disappear. Fear will fade away. I'm just paraphrasing. And it does make sense. There are a lot of fears that you can just act on and and that fear will vanish. For example, you see a girl, you like her, you want to go talk to her. Go talk to her, regardless of how frightened you are. Be polite. Be polite. Be polite if you want to talk to her. I'm not saying go and harass her, and pester her. Just go and talk to her normally, nicely, politely. And you'll see that the fear will vanish. If you have a fear of heights, do something that will make this fear of heights vanish. If you are fearful of starting a business, of talking to someone, of trying something new, just do it. Just do it and see how it goes. Generally speaking, you will fuck it up because it's the first time you do it, but it doesn't matter. When I started doing those videos, I was like so scared. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna say? How am I gonna deal with this light, this camera, etc. But you know what? I did it. I was scared, but as I said in a lot of my videos, like, you need to be courageous and dare to do the things that make you scared. And oftentimes, when we're scared of something, the opposite of fear, and that's what I heard this on Kamal Ravikant, the author of Loving Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. He said it in one of his conferences that oftentimes success is on the other side of fear, or at least fulfillment. I usually change success for fulfillment. But anyway, but don't get me wrong, like I'm scared of sharks, for example. I'm not scared of sharks and big crocodiles. I'm not gonna go swim with them. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. I mean, I might die first of all. I mean, they might chop off my leg. It's not something I wanna spend my time doing, right? But what I'm talking about is like those fears, like talking to someone, doing the right things, saying the right things, daring to be yourself, to be authentic, to be your real self. That's the kind of fears I'm talking about. And that's very simple because you can just overcome them by just doing it. Then there's the third type of fear. Then there's the fear of the future, for example, of your future more particularly. And some fears, there's no practical action you can take at the moment to overcome them. And when I'm talking about these fears, those are deep-seated fears, generally speaking. And you need to look deep down. And that's a concept I got from the book Letting Go by David Hawkins, and Buddhism as well, to be fair, meditation and whatnot. So you need to peel off the layers of that fear one by one. Let it come to the surface one by one. And David Hawkins said that all fears boil down to the survival, the fear of others and stuff like this. Very, very base human instincts. So once you go down these fears and you peel off one after the other, you can see that a lot of those fears, as I said at the beginning of the video, are unjustified. But as I said, 98% of the fears are unjustified. So it's easy to peel off those layers and let them go because they're unjustified. They have no ground to stand upon. But what about that 2%? And there's many ways to go about it. When you see this 2%, you can do some fear setting. That's Stoic Buddhist concept. You can look at this here and say, okay, what's the worst case scenario? And the worst case scenario, generally speaking, you will see that you can do something about it, right? And I don't want to get into the fear setting because I think that's a more Stoic Buddhist concept, but I'll just briefly talk about this. This 2% of fear that in your life that is justified, dare to look at it and dare to think about the worst case scenario. And generally speaking, more often than not, almost all the time, there's the fear, even though justified, if it were to come to fruition, that fear will not be as scary as you thought it would be, even though. And that's from an emotional standpoint. Like we always have this glamour when it comes to the good, the desires we want. But once we have them, it's like it becomes normal. And you see that the good is never as good as you thought it would be, and the bad is never as bad as you thought it would be. So this can be liberating, can be frustrating on the good side. But on the bad side, it's quite liberating. It's never as bad as you think it would be, right? Because we're human beings, we never feel one emotion all the time. So the good is not always good and the bad is not always bad, right? But I digress. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Whatever we expect something to be, it will not be the same. That's what I'm saying. So first, you need to know that. And second of all, you need to see, once you have seen that fear up close, when you have looked with your eyes and thought about the worst case scenario, you think like, oh, it's not that bad. I can do something about it. There will always be something I can do. And that's the beauty of it, no matter what is your fear. And even if that fear were to come to fruition, every cloud has a silver lining. So there's always something you can do about it. So don't be so scared. Your fear will vanish itself because those fears are not grounded in anything. So if there's the worst case scenario, there's a solution. There are many solutions to get out of this funk, to get out of this situation, those circumstances. Why bother? Why bother? And that's how you, from a wisdom standpoint, you can really let go of a lot of fear. And yes, there will always be fears because we're humans, but once you start doing this process of letting go, of looking at this fear and facing it, and seeing that this fear has no ground, is more easy to cope with it. If there's an actionable deed you can perform right now to overcome this action, do it. If not, you just look at it, see the worst case scenario, so that's not that bad, and it will vanish. Let it go. And if you have this fearful emotion in your stomach, this fear that pervades and overwhelms your body, what you want to do is surrender it. And what I mean, it's not an intellectual process. Sometimes you just cannot do anything about it. I mean, you cannot do any actions to overcome it. You cannot intellectualize it and think about it and see the worst case scenario and think, oh, it's not that bad. Sometimes you cannot do anything. These two things, at least. Sometimes the only thing you have is this raw emotion in your body. So what I want you guys to do when it comes to this is surrender it, and that's what meditation comes in handy. And surrendering and letting go is as easy as closing your eyes. Wherever the fear is, you can put a hand on your stomach. Generally, for me at least, it translates in the stomach region. I place my hand and I rub it, I caress it, and I say it's okay, it's all good. I don't fight it. That's surrendering. I do not fight the emotion. I do not judge the emotion. I do not add any thinking, any words to this emotion, aside from the mantra, obviously. It's okay, it's all good. And I let it stay or let it go as it please. And the beauty of this is it works like a charm. Your fear will vanish. There's another way you can deal with this also. It's just dancing, going for a workout, doing something physical. Because when it needs your body, you need something to let it go. So you can let it go with your mind, you can let it go with your body by exercising your body, by doing sprints, by stuff like this, exercising, doing HIIT training, stuff like this, swimming, whatever the case might be for you. Or just let go with your mind. But either way, or both, they work. That's just my 2 cents on it. And Joseph Murphy, I remember one of his stories, he had a fear of water. He had a fear of water because he almost drowned when he was a kid or a teenager. And this fear followed him through his adult life. So what he did for this fear of life, he would go down his hotel and there would be a swimming pool and he would look at the water and say, I'm gonna master you. I'm gonna master you. I'm gonna master you, water. I do not fear you. I'm here and I'm the master of you. And that, like, did you feel my emotions, the power when I said it? That's what you need to do. You don't fight that, but you master it. You have conviction that you will not let fear overtake you. You can master your fear. I'm not saying you should fight it or repress it or suppress it, but you can master it. You can change it. You can transcend it. You can overcome it. And something that seemed like a foe at first will become your best friend. So think about this. And I want to start this video, this audio, whatever you see, hear this, with the words of Jim Carrey. I'm gonna have to paraphrase because I forgot. But he said something along the lines like, in our life, in our lifetime, we will always have a choice between love and fear. Choose love and never let fear interfere with your playful heart. Those are beautiful words. That's the best way to end the video. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Sebastian. I was great. I'm very happy to have done this video audio for you. Thank you so much for listening. I am a mindset, meditation, and manifestation coach. The link is in the description box below for those on YouTube and on my website for those on Instagram, Facebook, and wherever else you see my face or hear my voice. Thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon.